Of course. Here is an expanded and in-depth version of the story, intertwining spiritual knowledge, science, psychology, mythology, and personal experience. It is presented as a coherent, vivid narrative with additional layers of meaning and detail. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, not because of noise, not because of a nightmare, not because of pain, but just woke up? Seemingly calm, but with a slight inner tension. You open your eyes, look at the clock, 3:03, or 3:40, or 4:11. Everything around you is quiet, the whole house is asleep, but suddenly you find yourself here fully awake at a time when the world is sleeping most soundly. This is no accident. It is more than just a phase of sleep. It is a call. Such nighttime awakenings, especially between 1 o'clock and 5 a.m., have been considered a time of special significance for millennia. Ancient cultures, mystics, prophets, monks, shamans, all of them noted that it is during these hours that the invisible becomes closer. In Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, there is the concept of Brahma Muhurta, the sacred time 2 hours before sunrise, when the soul is especially open to God, meditation, and enlightenment. In the Christian tradition, monks rose for morning prayer at 3 or 4 a.m., not simply as a ritual, but because it was at this time that they felt closest to the divine. But let's look deeper. From a biological point of view, amazing processes take place during these hours. At around 3 a.m., the human body goes through an important transition. Body temperature reaches its lowest point, and hormone levels, especially melatonin and cortisol, begin to change. It's like a change of the inner guard. The brain is preparing to wake up, but is still in the active dreaming phase. The REM phase is particularly interesting, the phase of rapid eye movement sleep, when the brain works almost as if it were awake, and we see the most vivid and emotionally intense dreams. At the same time, the subconscious is activated, and if a person wakes up at this moment, they often find themselves in a unique state of consciousness. They are no longer asleep, but not yet fully awake. At such moments, the boundary between the inner world and external reality is blurred. That is why during these hours we can remember important images, receive intuitive insights, and hear prompts from our higher self. From a spiritual point of view, many researchers are convinced that during this period a fine-tuning occurs between the physical body and the energy structures of a person. This time is not just for rest, it is a window for rebooting the soul. It is believed that between 3 and 4 a.m., the heart chakra and the upper energy centers are particularly active, including the third eye and the crown chakra, which are responsible for intuition, insight, and connection with the spiritual dimension. This is why many people feel the presence of something greater during these hours, as if someone is in the room, or as if someone is watching, not with anxiety, but with quiet, loving attention. Some note that it was at this time that they experienced a feeling of complete peace and clarity, even if they were confused during the day. Others say that they woke up in tears, as if their soul had let something go in their sleep. There are also those who, after such awakenings, began to write, paint, pray, or simply sit in silence because they felt, "Now I am truly alive." But nighttime awakenings are not always just light and peace. Sometimes they bring anxiety, restlessness, and inner tension. And that is also important. Waking up, for example, between 1 o'clock and 2 a.m., a person may feel hidden emotions, resentment, fears, unresolved conflicts. This is a time when the body and soul try to shed the energetic burden that has accumulated during the day or even over the years. If you constantly wake up at the same time at night, this is not a reason to panic, but a sign that you need to listen to yourself. Many psychologists and psychotherapists note that unconscious awakenings can be a signal that there is blocked energy in the psyche. Perhaps you are suppressing emotions, not allowing yourself to experience pain, fear, or guilt. The subconscious begins to push them out, and it is at night, when the noise of the day subsides and your mind is open, that they rise to the surface. That is why it is so important not just to go back to sleep, but to ask yourself, what is my soul trying to tell me right now? There are even studies confirming that nighttime awakenings often coincide with moments of change in a person's life. These can be new stages, transformations, crises, internal reboots. Your subconscious literally wakes you up so that you pay attention to something important. Now imagine, what if every awakening at 3:33, 4:04, or 3:21 is an invitation? An invitation to dialogue with God, with yourself, with your true nature. Perhaps it is in these moments that the answer you have been chasing for weeks comes. Perhaps it is at this moment that the Creator whispers to you, I am here. Listen. What if you woke up not just for no reason, but because your soul is ready to take a step towards a new version of yourself? A version that is no longer afraid, that hears, that wakes up not from alarm, but from the calling light. So the next time you open your eyes in the complete silence of the night, don't rush to turn away from this moment. Don't drown it out with your phone. Don't run back to sleep. Stay with this state. Listen to what sounds in the silence. Sometimes it is in this silence that true awakening occurs. There are nights when you suddenly wake up, not from sounds, not from pain, and not from a nightmare. You just open your eyes, as if someone has invisibly touched your soul. The time is 2:14, 2:47, or 3 o'clock. Something inside you is disturbing, but you can't immediately understand what it is. Perhaps you feel lost, confused, as if you are standing at a crossroads and don't know which direction to go. This awakening is not an accident. It is a call, an invitation to look inside yourself. It is a moment when your soul is knocking on your door, asking to be heard. Such an awakening is an opportunity to stop and feel. Perhaps you have been ignoring some inner emotions or avoiding difficult questions. But now, in the deep silence of the night, everything rises to the surface: fears, anxieties, doubts, resentments. What you drown out with the noise of the outside world during the day sounds especially clear at night. This is a wonderful time to turn to God in prayer, sit in silence, and simply listen to your heart. Sometimes it is enough to ask yourself a simple but honest question. What is going on inside me right now? What is troubling me? What am I avoiding? You can pick up a journal and start writing, allowing your thoughts to flow freely. You may feel a clarity emerging within you, as if an inner fog is beginning to dissipate. Such moments are not always comfortable, but they hold incredible power, the power of self-healing and returning to your true self. If you have ever read the Bible, you may remember how God used dreams and night visions to convey his messages to people. One such example is Joseph, the husband of Mary. Through dreams, he received divine warnings and guidance that allowed him to save his family from danger. He didn't just see dreams, he acted on them. Because he knew that when God speaks at night, you have to listen carefully. If you wake up between 2 and 3 in the morning, it may indicate something deeper. This time is considered particularly vulnerable for both the body and the soul. Perhaps your body is sending signals about physical exhaustion, internal overload, or emotional stress. Perhaps you are suppressing anger or harboring resentment, which, like poison, is affecting your health. In traditional Chinese medicine, this time is associated with the liver, the organ responsible for cleansing the body and storing emotions. The liver suffers when you hold back anger or do not allow yourself to let go of the past. These feelings can not only disrupt sleep, but also lead to more serious consequences if they are not recognized. On the other hand, the spiritual meaning of these hours reveals a completely different perspective. This is not just an alarm signal. It is an opportunity. Perhaps right now you are receiving a divine invitation to put your life in order. just as the prophet Isaiah once came to King Hezekiah with the message, "Put your house in order, for you are going to die." The king, hearing this, turned away in despair, offered up a passionate prayer, remembered his good deeds, and appealed to the mercy of the Lord. And God answered. Before Isaiah left the palace, he received a new revelation. "I have heard your prayer, seen your tears. I will heal you, and add 15 years to your life." This story deeply touches the soul. It shows that even in the darkest nights, when it seems that everything is falling apart, we have the power to pray, to ask, to be heard. God is not deaf. He hears every sincere request, every breath, every tear. So if you wake up at this time again and again, don't rush to turn away from this experience. Don't try to fall asleep as quickly as possible, pretending that nothing has happened. On the contrary, listen, feel. This may be the most important moment of the whole day. Perhaps right now you are being given a chance to reevaluate your life, let go of the heavy, and find healing. This may not be just waking up in the middle of the night. It may be the beginning of your inner awakening. Sometimes, in the middle of the night, when the whole world is silent, you suddenly wake up. The time is between 3 and 4 in the morning. You open your eyes and feel a strange excitement inside, as if something invisible has gently awakened you to remind you that you are not alone. This is not just a coincidence. It may be a special spiritual invitation, a moment worth pausing and listening to. Many ancient traditions believe that at this time, the veil between the material and spiritual worlds becomes thinner. Your subconscious mind is more active than at any other time of the day. You may remember your dreams with unusual vividness. Sometimes they seem strange, and sometimes it is as if someone from above is speaking to you through images and sensations. Don't dismiss them. Write down everything that comes to mind. These fragments of dreams can carry answers, signs, comfort. They can be messengers of God's wisdom. If you wake up suddenly with excitement in your chest, it may be caused by coming out of a deep phase of REM sleep, a period when the soul is particularly sensitive to everything subtle and unearthly. At this moment, your heart is open and your mind is clear. This is the perfect time to slow down, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and turn to God. Tell Him everything that is on your heart. Allow His presence to fill you. Perhaps you will feel peace. Or maybe tears will come to your eyes, not with sadness, but with liberation. Remember the Garden of Gethsemane, that night described in chapter 26 of the Gospel of Matthew. While the whole world slept, Jesus was awake. He knew that His hour was approaching, the hardest, most decisive hour. His disciples, exhausted by anxiety, fell asleep, and He remained alone in the darkness, with the burden of the coming sacrifice on His shoulders. He fell to His knees, stretched out on the ground, and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will." Matthew 26, verse 39. It was a moment of incredible vulnerability and, at the same time, strength. His soul was crushed, his heart was breaking, and yet he prayed. He did not run away. He did not shut himself off. He stood before God with an open soul, accepting everything that was to come. There, in the shade of the olive trees, Jesus was not just looking for a way out. He was looking for God's plan, God's comfort, God's strength. It was in this dark, secret hour that He found clarity. When He returned to His disciples and found them sleeping, His heart did not condemn them, but, filled with compassion, quietly asked, "Could you not watch with me for even 1 hour?" He understood that human weakness is great, but He also knew how important it was to be alert in times of trial. Jesus returned to prayer, not to change His fate, but to be confirmed in it. His voice, filled with suffering and faith, rang out in the silence of the night. It was in this prayer that He found the peace that allowed Him to courageously face betrayal, pain, and the cross. Gethsemane became not only a place of fear, but also a place of victory over fear. A place where a man completely surrendered himself to God and became stronger than ever. If you wake up at this hour, remember, perhaps you too are being given this opportunity to listen to yourself, to hear the quiet voice of God, to find peace in turmoil, to pray, to trust, to surrender. You are not alone. In the middle of the night, a call echoes, not from this world. And if you respond, perhaps at that very moment your true awakening will begin. You open your eyes. It is dark outside the window. The silence is so thick that it seems as if the air itself is asleep. It is between 4 and 5 in the morning. Everything around you is immersed in peace. Houses, streets, the city, even the birds have not yet awakened. Only you lie with your eyes open, not understanding. Why? Why now? And for what purpose? At first, it seems like a coincidence. Maybe your body is out of sync. Maybe it's just a disturbing dream. But your heart starts beating differently. A little quieter. A little deeper. And a feeling arises in your chest, as if someone has gently touched your soul. It's not disturbing. Not scary. But festive. Inside you, it's as if a door has opened, behind which there is light, silence, and presence. Your awakening becomes not physiological, but spiritual. This is the time when heaven becomes closer, when there are fewer obstacles between you and God. No daytime hustle and bustle, no noise of thoughts. Just you, the night, and Him. You don't hear His voice, but you feel it. He is here, somewhere nearby. Invisible, but real. And you understand, you didn't just wake up. You were awakened. Called. Because He has something to say to you. Because He wants you to stop and listen. Perhaps lately you have forgotten what it is like to pray. What it is like to talk to God. Life rushed by like a train, and you didn't have time to think. But now you are not on the train. You are in a quiet space-time where everything freezes, and a real conversation begins. Without words. Without rituals. Just soul to soul. You whisper, "Lord," and that's enough. He hears you. He has always heard you. It's just that you weren't always ready to speak. At moments like this, the Garden of Gethsemane comes to mind. Night, darkness, stars above the olive trees. Jesus is alone. His disciples are asleep, and He is praying. Slowly. With tears. With fear. And with faith. "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, but not as I will, but as you will." It was His night of pain. His struggle. His humility before God's will. And a moment of strength. It was there, in the silence, that Jesus received the strength that helped Him reach the cross. And perhaps your night is also a garden, in which you now stand alone. Maybe something is bothering you. Resentment, fatigue, fear of the future are accumulating inside you. Perhaps you have not felt peace for a long time. But God knows. He calls you at this hour not to frighten you, but to give you comfort, so that you may lay everything before Him, your burdens, your tears, your thoughts, and your questions. Sometimes you may wake up after a dream. The dream may be strange, confusing. Or perhaps, on the contrary, it may be vivid, like a vision. Don't rush to forget it. It may be significant. God has spoken through dreams since the beginning of time. And He still can. Perhaps there was a symbol, a message, an answer in this dream. Remember what you felt, what you saw, what remains in your memory. It may be important. Or maybe you don't remember the dream at all, but you woke up anyway. And that's already a sign. Because it is at this hour between night and dawn that the soul is most open. And you can hear God if you want to. Try closing your eyes now. But not to fall asleep again. To hear. Take a deep breath. Feel your heart beating slowly. Don't rush. Don't think. Just be. And say, Lord, I am here. Speak to me. Show me the way. That's enough. You've already taken a step forward. Sometimes, in moments like these, inspiration strikes. You suddenly remember what you've wanted to start for a long time, but didn't dare. What you should have left behind long ago, but were afraid to. In this quietest of times, the most sincere plan can be born. The strongest prayer. The most honest decision. Because while everyone else is asleep, you are awake. And that means you are ready for change. The world will wake up later. People will rush, turn on their phones, hurry to work. But you are already awake, in spirit. And your day will begin not with anxiety, but with blessing. Maybe you will open the Bible. Maybe you will just sit in silence. Maybe you will shed a single tear, but it will be cleansing. All of this is the path to Him. The path back. To your true self. And when dawn paints the sky in soft colors, you will understand. This night was a gift. It was not accidental. It was an opportunity. A chance to reconnect. To reset your heart. To accept the new. To leave the heavy behind. And to remember that you are not alone. Never. You are loved. You are heard. You are guided. I would like to apologize in advance for any errors in the text or dubbing. I am still learning, and the language used on this channel is not my native language. The dubbing was done using artificial intelligence. Please point out any errors so that I can correct them and improve the quality of the content. I would also be happy if you shared your thoughts on the topic. Your support in the comments motivates me to continue searching for new interesting stories. Thank you for your understanding and participation. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new stories.